Good morning, everyone, and happy International Accounting Day. I want to give you a warm welcome to the very exciting Sage 50 Accounts quiz, where the first half will be hosted by me. My name's Abby, and I also have Michael here, who will be delivering the second half of the quiz. And he will also be covering some upcoming webinars towards the end of the session. Just to let you know, we have included a recap of all this week's sessions on our recordings page as well. Now, today's session is the final session celebrating International Accounting Day today. There is no prize for today. It is just a little bit of fun just to test your knowledge on the sessions that have taken place this week. However, if you have attended 4 out of the 7 sessions this week using the same email address, then you will receive the first ever Sage 50 Accounts digital badge via email, roughly by the end of next week. Now, today's session will roughly be around 45 minutes, and it will include some demonstration in the software as well. If you do have any questions throughout the session, then you can still do that as well. So if you're new to the sessions and things like that, I'll just go through a little bit of housekeeping. So what you will see is that you will be placed on mute when you join. That is so you cannot speak directly to us during the webinar and will not be able to unmute yourself, but it will not impact your ability to hear us today. If you do have any questions, however, you can use the questions panel on the right-hand side of your screen by clicking the option that looks like a little speech bubble with the question mark in the middle. This is then going to open up that panel. So as you can see per my screenshot there, you're going to have a little questions panel at the very bottom with a white box, and then you just click the blue send button to send it over to me and Michael. Just to let you know as well, there will be no handout for today, as it is going to be mainly polls and demonstration. Okay, so let's have a look at how this is going to work today. So we have 7 rounds on the topics we have covered this week. We will be using polls for this quiz, where some will be just one answer, others may be multiple choice, but we will let you know when that is the case. So we're going to start with International Accounting Day, just a few questions, just random questions on that topic. We're then going to cover bank feeds, batch reporting, quick search and filter, memorize and recall, recurring items, and then email and invoices as well. And that's at the end where Michael's then going to... Okay, good morning everyone and happy International Accounting Day. I want to give you a warm welcome to the very exciting Sage 50 Accounts quiz, where the first half will be hosted by me. My name is Abby, and I will also have Michael here, who will be delivering the second half of the quiz. And he will also be covering some upcoming webinars towards the end of the session. Just to let you know, we also have included a recap of this week's session on our recordings page. Now, today is the final session celebrating International Accounting Day. There is no prize for today. It is just a little bit of fun just to test your knowledge on the sessions that have taken place this week. However, if you have attended 4 out of the 7 sessions and using the same email address, then you will receive the first ever Sage 50 Accounts digital badge via email roughly by the end of next week. Today's session will be roughly 45 minutes and will include some demonstration into the software also. Before we start the session, I just want to cover some housekeeping. So what you will see is that you will be placed on mute when you join. That is so you cannot speak directly to us during the webinar and will not be able to unmute yourself, but it will not impact your ability to hear us today. If you do have any questions, however, you can use the questions panel on the right-hand side of your screen by clicking the option that looks like a speech bubble with the question mark in the middle. This will then open up the panel where you can send your questions across, but either me or Michael will be able to answer these for you. Okay, so today we have 7 rounds on the topics we have covered this week. We will be using polls for this quiz, where some will just be one answers and the others may be multiple choice, but we will let you know when that is the case. So these are the rounds that we've got today. So we're going to just have a little bit of a fun round on International Accounting Day. We've got round 2, which is your bank feeds, round 3, which is your batch reporting, round 4, which is your quick search and filter, round 5 is your memorize and recall, round 6 is your recurring items, and then lastly round 7 is your email and invoices. And then Michael will be then going on to upcoming webinars at the end to summarize the session. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead with round 1. So that's International Accounting Day. So I'll just launch this poll for you. Okay, so why is International Accounting Day on the 10th of November each year? So again, this is just one single answer. So is it the launch of Sage 50 accounts? Is it the anniversary of publication on bookkeeping procedures? The first ever record of accounting was discovered? Or to celebrate Sage 50 webinars? Now we do usually wait until we get around 70%. So we'll just wait for those. I can see those answers coming in nice and quickly. So we'll just wait for those to come in. Again, don't worry, this is just a little bit of fun. There's no harm if you get the answer wrong. But again, it's just a little bit of fun on these ones. Still waiting for a little bit more answers to come in there, making sure everyone's getting those answers locked in. Okay, I'm going to close that poll down and I'm going to share my screen with you. Lovely. Okay, so 3% of you think it's the launch of Sage 50 accounts. 54% of you say it's the anniversary of a publication on bookkeeping procedures. 40% of you say it's the first ever record of accounting was discovered. And 3% of you say it's to celebrate Sage 50 webinars. So the correct answer is the anniversary of a publication on bookkeeping procedures. So well done if you got that right. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll move on to the next question. Okay, so you have to bear with me with this one. So, Luca Bartolomeo di Pacioli is considered to be the founder of Sage, the creator of Sage 50 accounts, the father of accounting, or the hero of accounts. So again, we'll wait until we get around 75%. So we'll just wait for those answers. I can see they're starting to come in nice and quickly there. I can see your questions just coming there, and ask the audience would be the correct option. If only we could have that option as well. So again, we're just waiting for those answers, get everyone to get their answers locked in there. We'll wait until around 70%. Okay, we'll close that poll and I'll just share the results with you. Okay, so the correct answer is the father of accounting. So we had 2% of you who said founder of Sage, 2% said the creator of Sage 50 accounts, 95% of you said the father of accounting. So those of you who clicked that one, you did get that one right. And 2% of you said the hero of accounts. That's also a good question, good answer as well. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll move on to the next question. Okay, so for International Accounting Day, we are offering our first ever digital badge. What is the name of this badge? So is it Payroll Proficiency, Accounts Guru, Accounting Expert, and Accounts Automation? So we'll just wait. I can see those votes are starting to come in there now. So they're coming in nice and quickly. Bit of a mixed answer there. Okay, we're nearly at that 70% there. So make sure you get your answers locked in before I close the poll. Lovely. I'm just going to close that down. I'll share the results with you. Okay, so 1% of you think it's called payroll proficiency. 25% of you think it's accounts guru. 48% of you think it's accounting expert. And 25% of you think it's accounts automation. So the correct answer is accounts automation. So as I mentioned at the start of the session, you will receive this badge if you have attended 4 out of the 5 sessions. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to the next round. So just bear with me a moment. Okay, so we're now going to move on to bank feeds round 2. So what I'll do is we'll start with the first question for bank feeds. Okay, so which of the following is not a tab within the new bank feeds? So is it auto match, manual match, to be matched, or confirm? So those of you who have attended, you will know that the new bank feeds in 29.2 has had some improvements from the 29.0 and below. So we now have tabs for each area of bank feeds. So we're just going to wait for those votes to come in. About halfway now. Make sure you get your answer locked in before I close the poll. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close that down now and we'll share with the results. Okay, so 3% of you said auto match, 16% of you said manual match, 50% of you said to be matched, and 31% of you said it confirm. So that was not a tab in the bank feeds. So the correct answer is actually manual match. So the 3 tabs that actually exist in bank feeds is auto match, to be matched, and confirm. So to be matched is manual matching. And that's just telling you what is still outstanding to be matched. Okay. So what we'll do now is we'll hide that poll and we'll move on to the next question. Okay, so bank feeds rules can be set up to be split transactions onto different nominal codes. So the answer is true or false. Get those answers in. We're just waiting. We're about halfway there now, so I'll just wait a little bit longer to get those votes in. So can they be set up? So can the bank feeds rules be set up to split transactions onto different nominal codes? Okay, what I'll do is I'll close that poll and we'll share the results. So 86% of you think it's true, and 14% of you think it's false. So the correct answer is true. So yes, rules can be split onto different nominal codes, but it can only be done for bank payments or receipts, not any customer or supplier transactions. What we'll do is I'll quickly demonstrate this one so you can see what this looks like. I'm just going to hide that poll and I'm just going to pop over to my software. Okay, so if I pop into bank feeds, I'm going to click open. If I pop into my to be matched tab, I'm just going to search for two transactions. So I'm going to put 54 so I can match them together. So you can see here it has to be a bank payment. So if I then drag that together to match them, and I pop into the confirmed, I highlight it because I want to create a rule for this one. I'm going to click create rules. I'm going to call this rule gas and electric. I want to include a reference and the amount. And at the bottom, you can see add a line. So you can add the accounts this rule will assign to. So you can see the imbalance that I have is 54.90. So if I pop into add, I'm going to change it from value. You can use it as value, but I'm going to change my percentage and I want to split it 50-50. And then just want to change the reference here. So I'm just going to leave my nominal code as 5,000 for this one. I'm going to change this to gas. Again, you can apply a department and a tax code. If I click add, that's done one split. And you can see I've got 27.45 left. If I add another line, I'm going to leave that at 50. Again, you could split that again. You could split it multiple times. I'm going to leave that as 550. I'm going to change my nominal code just to another nominal code there. Just change it to 5100. And I'm going to put that as my electric. And click add. You can see now it's done a 50-50 split across two nominal codes, 5,000 and 5,100 as well. So that's how you can split your transactions when using bank feeds rules. Okay, let's move on to the next round. So it's going to be batch reporting. So what I'll do is I'll move on to the next question. Okay, so this is on batch reporting. So batch reporting cannot be used for custom reports. True or false? Wait to get those answers in. Shouldn't be too much longer. I can see they're coming in nice and quickly. And what I'll do is, once we've closed this poll, there we go. I'll share the results with you as well. Okay, so 18% of you think that it's true and you can't use custom reports, and 82% of you think that is false. So those of you who voted false, that is correct. So you can use customized reports in batch reporting. It's just a case of finding the relevant report when adding it in. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So I'm just going to pop back to my software. Bear with me a moment. My software's decided to close itself. So bear with me. It's always when you need to wait for something to come on, it seems to take the longest. Okay. So let's just hide that poll. Okay, so let's have a look in this. So if we pop into customers, and if we go into reports, and if I go into my customer reports, you can see I've got my customer activity customized. So it might be that I've added extra fields, amended the criteria, etc. So that's why I might have a customized report. So what I'm going to do is I also want to add it to my favorites. So it's a little bit easier to find. Then if we go into tools along the top, batch reporting, Then if I go into new, say I'm going to create a new batch report, just put customers. So I can either go into in reports, try and find it within the customer module, maybe a little bit longer. But because I've added it to my favorites, I can actually find it straight away. So it's just a case of navigating through the list to find your customized report. Make sure you know what the name is. So all you would do is then add it in, and it adds your customized report into your batch report group. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question, also batch reporting related. Okay, so the next question is, which variant is batch reporting available in? And that this one is multiple choice, so you can select more than one. Again, if you attended that session on batch reporting, it did mention which variants that this feature was available on. Shouldn't be too much longer now. We're just over halfway. Just wait a little bit longer, just for those to get those answers locked in. Okay, we'll share that result with you as well. Okay, so 15% of you thinks it's on essentials, 82% of you think it's standard, and 94% of you think it's professional. So the correct answer is batch reporting is available on standard and professional only. If that is something that a feature that you would like to be using if you are on essentials, then you can get in contact with our support team to look into that further to get you upgraded. Okay, so the next round we've got is quick search and filters. So let's launch the next question here. So which of the following are wildcards which can be used for the filter option? And this one is multiple choice as well. So is it the $sign, pound sign, question mark, or the asterisk? You can select as many or as little as you want as well. So just while I wait for those answers to come in. So wildcards. So using wildcards allows precision, time saving, and the ability to search for patterns and variations. So if you are interested in learning more about wildcards, you can rewatch the recording on quick search and filter. So that is on our recordings page, or there is a guide on our help center for that as well. Okay, so I'll just close that poll down and I'll share the results. Okay, so we've got 55% of you think it's a $sign, 20% of you also think it's a pound sign, 61% of you think it's a question mark, and 86% of you also think it's asterisk. So the correct answer is the $sign, the question mark, and the asterisk. So well done if you did get that right as well. Okay, so we'll move on to the last question, or round rather, by myself. Okay, so last question by me. So when you apply a filter to any window excluding transactions, that's excluding transactions module, any reports run in that module are based only on the search results applied by your filter. So is it true or false? So any reports that you run with a filter applied are only based on those search results. See, the answers are coming in nice and quickly there. Just past the halfway mark. Okay, so we'll close that and we'll share the results. So 89% of you think it's true, and 11% of you think it's false. So the correct answer is true. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So let's hide that poll. And as you can see, I'm in my customers at the moment, and I've got a filter applied. So my filter is where the balance is equal to 0. So as you can see, that's my full list. If I toggle that back on, this is my list of customers who only have a 0 balance. So then if I go to run a report, so I go to reports, I'm going to go to customer details, and I want to know the customer details of those who have a 0 balance. So I'll click preview, click OK. And as you can see, it's actually only given me the customers that were appearing in that filter. If I turned that filter off and ran the report again, it would then give me the full list of all my customers. Okay, so that is the first half of the quiz. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass it over to Michael. I will still be here to answer any questions that you may have, so do keep them coming throughout this session as well. So over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Abby. I'm sure probably the question on everyone's lips at the minute is, where does Abby get a gas and electric from for £54.90 a month? That would be a good question, that one. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at round 5. So round 5, we're going to be looking at the memorise and recall options that I took you through earlier on in the week. So again, we'll follow the same format. We'll display the questions using the polls options. Please choose your answers. We'll just wait till we get enough those answers coming through, and then we'll display the results, and where necessary, maybe run a little demo here and there as well. Right, okay, so let's start with the first one. And nice question, this one. In which of the following areas is memorise and recall available? So select all that apply. So you can choose more than one. So is it available in batch invoice, bank payment screen, journals, invoices and credits, quotations? And some of you might have your software open, frantically checking here. So we'll just give you a few moments to let that option come through. So we'll just wait till we get a good percentage of you having voted, and then we'll share the results with you. All right, let me close the poll just at that point then, and we'll share those results so you can have a look at what people have voted for. So as you can see, loads of votes for each of those options. And if you have chosen those options, any of them for that matter, so a bit of a trick question, this one, in that all of the options are correct. The memorise and recall option is available in all of these options. However, there is a caveat on that one, because it does depend on the level of the software that you've got. So if you're on the essentials level of the software, you don't have access to memorise and recall at all. Now, there are other options, such as using import, recurring items, that type of thing. But memorise and recall, you don't get access to that option at all in the essentials level. For the standard level of the software, you would have access to the memorise and recall options within the invoices and credits area, and also the quotations area as well. So if you've got those invoices, and we explained them at the time, if you've got those invoices that might have multiple parts, almost like you sell a pack of which contains certain products, or maybe you have a big lengthy service invoice, rather than you sitting there keying that in and forming that invoice each time, memorise and recall can save you quite a bit of time. If you're on the professional level of the software as well, Memorize and Recall is available in both the journals area and also in the batch entry options as well. So batch invoices, batch credits as well, but also bank payment, bank receipts. Right, let's hide that one. We'll go on to our next question, still sticking with the Memorize and Recall theme. Now, this might be a bit more difficult for some of you that aren't on the professional level, but quick question. So which fields can you amend if you recall a journal? Is it none of them? Is it date only, amounts only, or is it any part of the journal that you can amend, so all of the fields? So again, I'll just give you about 20 seconds or so to pop an answer in for that one, and we'll see what answers we get. Excellent. Right. Okay, let's close that. And again, I'll share the results. So you can actually, when you recall a journal, you can actually amend any field you want. You can make as many changes as you want as well. Now, by that, we're not talking about if you go to edit a journal, we're talking about if you recall a journal. So I'll quickly demonstrate this one. So it is all fields. Let me just hide that for a moment. And what I'll do is I'll quickly share my desktop. We'll have a look at that one. So we're just going into nominal codes, into journal entry, and then when we use the recall option at the top. So this is a really good option. If you didn't attend this session, this is a really good option for if you have quite lengthy journals. So the repeat journals. Now, some of them are built into the software already for you. So there's a few examples already, and some of them it's just a case of rather than you selecting the nominal codes, you've got them set up. It might just be a 2-line journal, but if you've got lengthy journals, so things like salaries, for instance, I just select that one, monthly salary journal, and I'll load it, and it loads the relevant nominal codes. Now I can make whatever changes I want at that point. I can change the reference, the posting date. Obviously, it's going to pick up today's date. Always look at the calendar at that point to make sure that is today's date. So it is the 10th of November today. But you can also change nominal codes. You can add nominal codes in, you can remove nominal codes, you can amend values, descriptions, tax codes. It's entirely up to you. So it's just a case of filling that in. Obviously your journal needs to balance, but then you would just click save at the bottom and off you go. So that's Memorize and Recall. Again, there is the recording of that one available if you weren't able to catch that session. Right, next we're going to go on to round 6. Round 6 is about in relation to the recurring items session that we ran earlier in the week. So we launch our next poll. And we're specifically talking about, for this one, we're talking about the bank area of the software. So what type of recurring transactions can be set up within the bank accounts area? Now, this option is within the bank accounts area. It's the same irrespective of the level of software that you're on. So essential, standard, and professional all have the same options. So which of these types of transactions can you set up as a recurring entry in the bank accounts area? So you can select all that apply. So you can select more than one. That's your clue there, as I just saw people picking bank payment there, but please choose all that apply. So again, I'll just give you about 20 seconds or so for you to pop an answer in, and then we'll quickly display those results for you. So again, good time saver this one. So if you've got those repeat transactions, so a bit like when we were talking earlier about, let's say you had like a repeat invoice almost, or a repeat journal. where it happens on a regular basis, so it happens on the last day of the month, you could use recurring items to essentially do that for you. So rather than using the memorize and recall option to recall that journal, potentially, without giving it away, potentially if you were to set up as a recurring item, that means the software would generate it for you. All you would need to do is go in and process that. So I'll just quickly share the results with you as well so you can see that. Now, the incorrect answer on that list, there is only one incorrect answer, and that's the sales invoice. Now, you can set up recurring invoices in the software if you're on the, if you're on the standard level or the professional level, you do have that option available to you. But you can't set up a sales invoice within the bank area of the software. But it's a great option. You can change the frequency on that option as well if you want to. So, if you wanted to do it on a weekly basis, a fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, 6 monthly, annual, every 2 years, it's up to you. It's really flexible with the recurring items. And on that as well, you can also set the number of postings that it would make. Right, let's just hide that. And I'll quickly share the results so you can see what people voted for as well. So lots of votes for bank payments. I think bank payments, when you talk about recurring items, I mentioned this on the session as well, it's the one everybody thinks about. So those direct debits, the standing orders. Yes, there are other options. A few people mentioned that on the session the other day as well. Well, what about if I've got a bank feed set up? Yeah, not everyone uses a bank feed, but it is an option. If you've got a bank feed set up, that's actually the better option, setting up a rule, than it would be to set up a recurring item. It just means that as that transaction goes out of your bank or comes into your bank, it then downloads that transaction. And if you've got a rule set up, it will then automatically post that into your accounts for you. So it's doing it in even a more automated way than a recurring item would. So lots to explore with that one. So next question, just to see anyone was paying attention on the session the other day. So where would you find the setting to enable the reminder that appears when you open the software? So the reminder that says you've got recurring entries due. Do you want to process that now? So I've given you 4 options to choose from. So choose the appropriate option. So is it within settings and then bank defaults? Is it settings and then configuration? Settings and then company preferences? Quite a few options on the settings menu. Or will you find it within the tools and options within the software? This is one of those options where if you work on our support team, you tend to find everyone uses the demonstration data within the software, which does have recurring entries due. So this message pops up every single time. So it's very common if you work in support, just to switch that option off. So everyone's very familiar where that option is, just to get rid of that message. Right, let's close that as well. I'll share the results with you there as well. So 42% of you did get that right. You will find the option within company preferences. Now I'll quickly show you this option just to remind you where it is and what it actually relates to. So what I'll quickly do, share my screen. We'll pop into bank accounts, pop into recurring items first of all. I've got some there and I can see that one. Obviously this is an old set of data I'm using, but I've got some that says the next posting is on this date. So if I go into settings and then company preferences, prompt you to re-enter your password. And then on the parameters tab, it's this option here, no recurring entries at startup. Now by default, that option will not be ticked. So if I take the tick out of that and just close out of Sage, And then if I open it back up, and if I select the right company, so this one here, and what I should get as I log into the software is I should get a prompt, which I do. You've recurring entries due. Do you want to process them now? So you've got that reminder option. If you don't want to get that one, you don't want to get that reminder, then yes, you can just go back into settings, company preferences, parameters, and switch that option, or tick the box to say that you don't want to have the prompt when you log in. So if I was to just click yes at that point, it would take me into this area. It'll show me which ones are due, and then I can go into process. And if I've got recurring invoices in here as well, or sales orders, purchase orders, they would be listed as well. I would just go into process, set the appropriate date that I want to process them up to. Obviously, it picks up today's date. And then if I was happy with that, I didn't need to make any other changes. I would just click post, and it would enter those transactions into my software for me. If anyone's using the recurring invoices option, that's great for things like membership subscriptions, to save you having to key them in and create them each and every time. Right, okay, we'll close out of that one. We'll go on to our next question. And it's our final round, this one. So let me find the right slide for a moment. So round 7 is all to do with emailing invoices. So we've got a couple of questions in this round as well. Again, we'll try and maybe run a little demo, and then we'll wrap up. So first question for round 7 on emailing invoices. Pop that one on screen. And it's how many email addresses can be entered in a customer record? Is it 1, 3, 6, or can you enter as many as you want? So what do you think on that one? So again, I'll give you a chance to submit your answers on that one. So a bit of a mixture coming through there. Right, okay, excellent. We'll just close that one. I'll share the results with you again, so you can see what people have voted for. So you've got 4% of you saying that you can enter 1. Yes, you can enter 1, but you can enter more than that. 25% of you are saying 3, 61% on 6, and 10% unlimited. Now, this is going to vary, this one. So there's not a right and wrong answer for this one. So for those of you that voted to say you could enter up to 3, that was the case up until and including version 28.1. When we released the 28.2 update, it extended that up to 6 email addresses. So if you're on 28.2 or version 29, you can actually enter up to 6 email addresses within a customer record. Now, for those of you that put unlimited, we were looking for 6, but actually unlimited is sort of right as well. We just hide those results, and I'm going to quickly share the screen with you a moment. So if I pop into a customer record, so you can see the email section here. So again, 28.1 and below, you would have email address 1, 2, and 3. 28.2 and above, you would have also email address 4, 5, and 6. But also for those of you that did choose unlimited, for those of you that have got the addresses and contacts option, now you don't get this option on the essentials level of the software, but with addresses and contacts, if you were to set up a new contact, you can actually record an email address against that. So there's no limit on the number of contacts you've got. So well done if you knew that. I wasn't really expecting anyone to go for the unlimited other than a complete guess, but if you did know that, well done. So you can record extra email addresses essentially by adding new contacts within the records. Not very, I don't think it's very commonly used, that option though. But I think we were looking for 6 was the sort of the answer that we were aiming at. Right, final question of today's quiz then. I'll quickly launch that one. So question here is, if you select multiple invoices belonging to the same customer, so we're in invoices, we've got multiple invoices for the same customer, so we highlight them, and then we go to output that to email. Now, in that situation, when you email out and you've selected multiple invoices for the same customer, will that customer receive a single email or will they receive multiple emails? So let's say we highlight 3 invoices for the same customer. Will they receive 3 emails or will they just receive 1 with the 3 attachments? So again, I can see all the answers coming through there. So this is quite an interesting one as well. Right, let's just close the poll at that point. And I'll share the results with you. So 93% saying yes, they will receive a single email, and 7% are saying no. Now, for those of you that were paying attention to when I was talking yesterday about emailing out invoices, then yes, I did run through a demonstration. And when we selected multiple invoices for the customer, that was included in the demo. By default, if you're using one of the standard templates, one of the standard invoice templates, then yes, they would receive 1 email. So in this instance, the 3 emails would be attached as 3 separate PDFs on the 1 email. So if you chose yes, you are correct based on the default settings. For those of you that chose no, then you're not wrong, because you can amend your invoice layout and you can amend the email settings so that for each invoice selected, a separate email would be generated. Now, that is something that will be covered in our Emailing Invoices Part 2 session. Now, we're running that one next week. So that's on, I think that one's on Thursday next week. That will be at 2 o'clock. So you want to come along and maybe develop your knowledge just that little bit further and see what else you can do when it comes to modifying your invoice layouts and the email settings. So if you want to, maybe you want to use multiple email addresses from the customer record, so email address 1 and 2, you can do that. So we'll be showing you how to do that in that session. Links to register for that session will be included on your follow-up email. So well done if you said yes, and also well done if you said no as well. So it was a bit of a trick question there because both answers, it will be dependent on the layout and the email settings assigned to it. Right, now that sort of brings us to the end of the quiz. I'm going to ask you one further question. And this time I would love it if you could, I'll pop that on screen actually, if you don't mind, if you could pop this one into the chat box. So of the sessions, the 6 sessions that we've run so far, or 7 if you want to include today's quiz, what was your favourite session? What was your favourite topic from this week? And also why? Is it that you liked emailing invoices? It's going to save you lots of time. Is it the batch reporting option? Something that you might run a batch of reports on a monthly basis? Is it one of the other sessions, bank feeds? So what was your favourite topic of this week and why? So if you could put some comments in via the questions panel, that would be great. To access the questions panel, just in case you're not familiar with that one, just on your toolbar down the side, you just need to click your little icon, the one that looks like the speech bubble containing the question mark. Give it a click. It should expand the panel. You get the box in the bottom right-hand corner. And if you don't mind, if you could take a moment just to pop a few comments in there. So let me know your favourite session. It might be something that was brand new to you and you thought, actually, I just never knew that one. Possibly some of the options we've covered this week, things like memorize and recall, for instance, being in there since just about since day one. It's expanded into other areas, but being able to recall a journal has been in there. It's probably been in since day one. I'm sure it has. So lots of comments coming through. So we'll have it. Brilliant. Thanks for that. Keep them coming. Margaret, it was. You mentioned the quiz. It's the only session you've attended. Excellent. Nice, easy choice for you there then. But lots of variation coming through there. Loads of votes for memorize and recall, batch reporting, bank feeds. So all comments coming through on all of them. So brilliant. Excellent. Keep them coming. Again, in the meantime, if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask us as well while you're on the session today, pop those in as well. We'll try and answer any if we see them come through. If you think of any questions after you've left today's session, then do get in touch. Either check out our help centre or get in touch with our support team. Now, you will receive an email later today. It will contain links so that you can register for other webinars as well. So if maybe you've just come along to these sessions this week and you thought, oh, they're a good idea. You're picking up little nuggets of tips here and there and things to just help you use the software just that little bit better. Then please sign up for some more sessions. It's what we're about. We're trying to just make it that bit easier for you to get to grips with the software. We try to put it in layman's terms as well to not overcomplicate options. And obviously when you run the sessions, there's always the opportunity to ask us questions as well. Just to give you an idea of some of the topics that we've got coming up. So next week, as I mentioned, we will be covering emailing invoices part 2. So I'll be looking at the report designer with you all and showing you how it's a little bit different, the settings. It's a bit more advanced as well, what you can do with the email settings within each of your layouts. So do get yourself signed up for that one. That's Thursday at 2 p.m. Now, if you've missed any of the sessions this week, then they are all available on our recordings page now. We'll try and add a copy of the quiz on there as well, just in case anyone wants a bit of a recap. But that should be available by the end of today. The link to the recordings will be included on the follow-up email, which you will receive a little bit later on today. Next week, we've got age debtors. We're going to be looking at special product codes, which gives you that flexibility when it comes to entering your invoices. Year end, always a popular session. So even if you're not about to run your year end, or you might think, well, actually my year end isn't till about April next year, come along, get yourself prepared so you know what's going to be happening. We're going to be looking at sending statements and letters. We've got bank reconciliation sessions booked in, and also one of the all-time favourites, looking at the VAT return. Everyone's favourite, that one, I think. Always a bit of panic when it comes every quarter to having to generate that VAT return and get it submitted. So if you hopefully want to boost your confidence, get yourself signed up and we'll run you through that and give you an idea of the kind of things that normally catch people out, so those common support queries. Right, so again, keep your questions coming. If you have any, we'll see if we'll get Abby to filter through those and see if we can answer any of those questions. Let me quickly thank you for attending. Just as a reminder, if you have attended 4 or more of the live sessions this week, then you should receive your digital badge. That should be emailed out to you by the end of next week. Just need to collate the reports and then that will be coming out. So watch out for that email coming through as well. If you've got any feedback, ideas, anything of that nature that you'd like to share with us, there'll be a little survey pop up as you leave the session today. So if you can take a minute to complete that, be greatly appreciated. We love reading your comments. And your follow-up email, as I mentioned, that will be with you in round about the next hour. And there will be a link to this recording and a link so you can access the other recordings as well, should you need a bit of a recap. Right, okay. Right, we'll end the webinar at that point. We will have a good look through those comments and questions that have come through. If there's anything outstanding, we'll try and pop you an email by the end of today, but otherwise, many thanks for coming along. I hope you've enjoyed this week of sessions as well. If you've got any thoughts, ideas of sessions that you'd like to see us run in the future, then let us know. Pop it on the survey. Otherwise, take care, stay safe. Many thanks, and hopefully we'll see you again.